Well, welcome. Thank you for joining today. Dynamics Connections, we connect partners and ISVs. That's what we do. Today, we're going to go over how that works and kind of our program and the cost and the fees. So you have an understanding, and as you're doing your planning for next year, it might be a good thing to include in your budgets. So welcome. The agenda today is who is Dynamics Connections, and who do we work with? What do we do? What services do we offer? And then I do have some metrics. One thing that I appreciate over the past 5 years, we've accumulated a lot of data, attendance data, number of partners and colleagues that attend our sessions, and how many leads we generate. Definitely we'll go through that with you. Also, we'll go over kind of the investment and what services are provided. So Dynamics Connections was actually a company started over 5 years ago now. We just celebrated our anniversary. We were founded by a channel veteran from the Microsoft channel, Kim Peterson. I bought the company from Kim 2 years ago in 2021. So really pleased. It seems to really have a proven track record, and a lot of folks are really pleased with the results. My background, I have 25 years or more, kind of embarrassed to say, of financial experience. I actually have a CPA. I worked in Ernst & Young office in Seattle, one of the big 4 CPA firms internationally. And I got my CPA, and then I went into corporate accounting for, I don't know, probably quite a few years anyway, as an accountant, controller, and ultimately a CFO. About midway through my career, I decided to work and move into consulting just because of my family situation. We had my daughter was just born, and so we decided to go that way. And so I was doing financial consulting for a while. And then I moved into technology consulting because I had used, as a controller, Dynamics GP. I had helped implement it and also worked with another company. So I was very excited when I had an opportunity to really help teach other business users how to use Dynamics. And so I moved into working with partners about 2006. And so I've worked with small partners, regional partners, both on the East Coast and West Coast. And then in 2021, I left Columbus Global. I was the GP practice director. I'd been there about 3.5 years and led a very large team and large base of customers for Dynamics GP. And we also merged our teams with the Business Central team because at that time we were talking with and helping plan migrations for companies looking to go to the cloud and move to Business Central. So yeah, so we became the SMB team. That's a little bit about my background. So our mission is to build awareness and share best practices around Dynamics Companion solutions. And kind of when you look at the market, this was some metrics or figures from a couple of years ago, but I also got some recent information from some conferences and the Microsoft website, but active partners, we think there's probably at least 300 of ours and maybe independent consultants. There's at least 150 ISVs. I think it's actually more than that. That was kind of Kim's guess, the former owner. She knew a lot of the ISVs and the Microsoft ecosystem. And then since then, Business Central has really grown. So you can see in that little kind of fuzzy screenshot there, a screenshot that was taken at Directions in Europe last year in October about kind of the marketplace from 2 years ago in 2019 to 2021. So they went from 1,400 partners to over 3,300. How many were customers? Went from about 2,000 customers to over 20. I heard a recent figure of 22,000. So, and we have over 1,800 ISV solutions. And actually, there's another little screenshot of the ISV Connect ecosystem. That ISV Connect is the ISV program that Microsoft runs for AppSource and co-sell for ISVs. And that was as of July. Microsoft had their Inspire conference. And so I found that image that they have over 900 ISVs and 2,200 certified applications. So you can see this marketplace is growing on the Business Central side. Without the third-party add-ons, value added to the ERP, because there's a lot of times functionality that doesn't come with the native application. The Business Central partners that I meet or that I work with are now understanding the value of ISVs. Kind of the predecessor to Business Central was Nav or Navision, and a lot of those partners were used to customizing and building add-ons themselves. So they really didn't have the benefit of understanding how ISVs can really add to the value that a customer might have. GP partners now are asking for Business Central ISV, so I'm seeing quite a few of those partners now also working with clients on the Business Central side and wanting to know what's the path, right? For GP customers that already have an ISV, they kind of want to know what's available that's going to fill that need when I migrate. And other ISVs are coming actually from other ERPs too. So that's kind of fun. We're seeing Sage Intact or NetSuite or even Macola ERP and migrated now into Dynamics. So that's a benefit there. So you can see there's really an opportunity for the marketplace, especially as we see migrations of customers moving into the cloud from their legacy systems. And when what I do is once every 6 months, I do a snapshot of the contacts and the partners that I meet with and I work with. And this is a number of organizations that have either Dynamics GP, and again, I'm focusing just on the Dynamics space, Business Central, F&O, Nav, SL, and CRM, and how many customers they represent. And, we still have kind of that heritage of being a GP service for GP partners and GP ISVs, but now actually we've added quite a few Nav and Business Central only partners, and we're seeing really a lot of those GP partners becoming Business Central partners as well. So that number is growing. You can see as far as GP customers, that's still going strong. In fact, when I talk to those partners, about half of their Business Central clients are net new. They're not coming from a migration, either from Nav or GP. So they are seeing those customers really taking their time to think about that migration and timing and what products they want to migrate to. One question I get from ISVs is, well, why should VARs or partners join our education services? So kind of back up, one of the things we offer is free services. So I do ISV education for partners for 1 hour once a quarter. So I have a pre-arranged meeting with about 180 partners every quarter. I also have a monthly makeup webinar. So if they miss the meeting or their some colleagues can't make it because they have customer emergency or vacation, I invite them to our monthly webinar. So between those, we have at least, well, I'll kind of go on the metrics, but we have at least 38 meetings per month. And we offer special offers. So that's another reason that VARs tend to attend, is that we have each of the ISVs think about what kind of interaction or behavior they want to inspire with their partners after they meet with me. So I give them kind of that 1 hour introduction, like over 10 ISVs. So it's really a brief overview. That offer really is kind of the next step, right? So it might be scheduling a meeting to do a discovery call, maybe a lunch and learn for the team, maybe a special offer for your first sale. And so they really do get special promotions and offers if they attend my sessions. And they have exclusive access to what I call an ISV library. This is a partner only portal that's exclusive to partners, and they get access to over 100 ISVs information. And a lot of the information on this portal you can't find on their website. It's going to be really partner facing, so I don't invite end users. In fact, I don't interact with the end users at all. I'm only working with the partners. But that ISV library gives them a resource that's available 24/7, and they can go in and do searching. They can find contact information. They can watch videos. It gives them that information when I'm not available to do that education. And I also provide free advisory services. So a lot of partners found that Charles is a good resource. So they do reach out to me to ask for, hey, I've looked at this product or this product. Do you have any other suggestions? Do you have a contact? I can't reach my contact there. Can you send me more information on a particular ISV? And I do go back, depending on what they're asking me. And they're not easy requests. A lot of times they've already looked, for kind of the usual suspects. So what I find is, with a little bit of kind of questions and answers and things, I try to look at my past and current ISVs to see if any of those ISVs meet that requirement. And I might actually even reach out to some of my past and current ISV clients and just say, hey, do you have, does your solution address this? Here's kind of what they're looking for. That has really been great for a lot of partners to be able to reach out and use me as another resource to help them find those value-added ISVs. So that's some of the reasons why a partner would join. They get all of this free. Of course, who pays me will be my ISV clients, but it is valuable. And I think it's really grown because a lot of partners have found my knowledge and background of coming from Microsoft and being a Microsoft partner is really helpful. We are working on recruiting more VARs. So that's always a challenge. And as you know, there's a lot of companies that merge or people retire, people are changing roles all the time. So that's always challenging. So I'm always reaching out, looking to invite new partners to join our ISV education. And so I've added some information on my website. I have some endorsements and videos from actual VARs that have used my service and how they found value. I also really did a little video just to explain, I call it a commercial, but really help them understand what my free services are. And also, I look at my existing VARs and say, hey, there's probably additional people at their company that should be attending my meetings and aren't. So I'm always asking them, is there anybody else that should attend these meetings so they can, learn. And so that's really helped because we've met some new contacts. And as you know, people are always moving to new roles. Maybe they get promoted, maybe they leave, they get a different job. And so other people step in. So we're always, it's always a challenge to keep up with and add new additional people, but that seems to be going well. And, also there's a lot of people on our list that we're not meeting with. So we do invite them to our monthly webinar. So there's some partners that are just really small and they probably just don't have time for a one-on-one meeting. So they do get the invite every month. I send out a monthly webinar invite to everyone on my contact list. And then we've been looking through and developing a list of partners using Bob Scott VAR list. You might be familiar with that. There's the top 100 VARs. And really looking to get introductions. I actually get a lot of introductions from my ISVs. They're like, hey, are you meeting with this organization? So a lot of times that just through connecting with them. And I also use LinkedIn to connect with professionals from VARs. I do some speaking, with some of the user groups. And so sometimes that's how I meet people. So I'm doing a lot of networking and leveraging LinkedIn to do that. And also, I also attend user group meetings and I've done the virtual events and spoke at some of those Dynamic Con events. I will be speaking at Summit this year in Orlando. So if you're there, hopefully I'll see you. But that brings the visibility because again, we're promoting Dynamics connections and my services by me and my personal brand of being out there in the user community. So what type of ISVs do I work with? Well, it's kind of really three categories. I like to say we have those that are, looking to move across ERPs. Maybe they've been a Business Central ISV and they want to meet Dynamics GP customers, especially partners that are, helping their clients migrate. So there's maybe some ISVs they've never met on the Business Central side. And we also have GP ISVs that want to meet those NAV Business Central only partners. And so I have those introductions that I make often for those GP partners. And then we also have, again, those ISVs moving from other ERPs to Dynamics. Sometimes it works well for even a small or a new ISV. I have one coming up in the spring it's brand new and they've developed some really cool things. And I just saw that on LinkedIn and I was like, hey, that really looks like a neat product. And I got together with them and really learned a little bit about them. So now we're doing introductions coming up in spring about their products. So they're really brand new, to the space and they want to grow their sales channel through the partners. So that, if they're small or new, it gives them a way to get those introductions to VARs that they wouldn't have otherwise. maybe they have a limited budget. So whatever money they have, they're going to have to spend it in a spot that gives them the most bang for their buck. And I'm just a fraction really of hiring a full-time BDR. I like to say that, if you have a business development rep person on staff, I'm probably a lot cheaper. And I have connections already with VARs that I'm already meeting with. So you kind of look at me as sort of like a BDR marketing person for the time that we work together. And I also work with well-established ISVs. So it's kind of interesting. There's a lot of well-known ISVs that add new products, maybe new compatibilities with ERPs. And sometimes it's just also reminding partners about them, like they haven't worked with them in a while. Maybe they haven't, been in front of those partners. It kind of is nice to get a refresh, right? And what's available. And also there's a lot of mergers or acquisitions or rebrands that happen. So when those things happen, they want to get those messages out to people about, hey, we're here, we're under a new name, we have the same great product, the same great people. So a lot of times, even those well-established ones, even though they have great marketing programs, maybe they have a lot of the partners already as partners, it does help them get those messages, because a lot of times people are busy, right? And they don't always pay attention to the mass emails about those announcements. So what value do we provide versus some alternatives? So if you're an ISV, you're looking at ways to, get more eyeballs to see and generate leads, right? So, maybe you're signing up for paid listing services. Maybe you're working with a program that does collaboration with other ISVs to generate leads. Maybe you're working on your own. So, you don't have new contacts. You can't get partners to return your calls. That's what I hear most. And maybe you have your own marketing activities you're doing, webinars, events, and things to get in front of partners. What Dynamics Connections offers is, we have 10 ISVs every semester. So it's a 6-month period. I'll talk about that here in a minute on the timing. But I don't have overlapping ISVs during that session. So you get that exclusive topic for that 6 months. I usually hear also from partners that I get a lot of leads and contacts for them that are new to them. And again, like the special offers that we offer to VARs, that's another really great reason to engage with them. I've had a lot of feedback on this has helped them get introductions and new partner agreements signed and demos with internal teams and partners, clients. I do have those pre-arranged quarterly meetings with VARs. So like I said, we have quite a few that I have meetings with. That amount of meetings varies per week, but kind of overall on average, this last semester I had 38 meetings per month with 38 unique companies. And typically we have 1 to 3 people attending those meetings. We also have the ISV library, right? That's an exclusive partner-only portal. And you get a perpetual listing. So basically, once you become a Dynamics Connections client, you get listed in there and it stays in there. I don't take it down. If you want to come back, in 6 months or a year and update something, add some new documents or videos, I'm happy to do that. And we also, during that 6-month semester, have those quarterly meetings, right? So like there's 2 quarters in 6 months. So you get 2 unique messages in front of the partner. So sometimes the first quarter might be a topic like an introduction, update on the new products, and the second quarter is a deeper dive on a particular product or offering. We have a proven track record. Oh, I need to update that. It says 4 years. So our semester. So I talked about the timing, and sometimes it's a little confusing on the timing of that. When does it start? When does it end? So it's just offset about a month to kind of a calendar 6 months. So the spring is what I call it, spring semester. That starts in February. So February 1st all the way through July 31st. The fall semester begins August 1st and goes through January 31st. So again, you get 2 quarters of meetings with partners during that 6-month semester. In that 1-hour presentation, so this gives you kind of an overview of what that looks like. I have usually 10 ISVs that I'm representing. So kind of the first 5 minutes or so is like making sure that people have access to the ISV library, kind of a little chit chat. I try to get to know my contacts there and what they're up to if they're speaking at events. So we have usually a few minutes of intro and news and updates. And then I go into the agenda. And so I present 3 to 5 minutes per ISV. Then the last 3 to 5 minutes is spent on really just kind of reviewing all the topics we went over and to find out if there was any ISVs that they're interested in. So what happens is, and I consider this a lead, is right after that call, if they say, yes, I'd like more information on, I'll just use this as an example, a payroll ISV that I'm representing. Okay, so I will, right after that call, I will send the same day a specific email and copy the contact at that ISV. So there's an email template that we agree on that gets sent out to that partner about that. And then the ISV and their contacts can then do the follow-up and schedule a meeting with them. During that conversation, I also find out additional things, like maybe they've never heard of this ISV. Maybe they're interested because they have a customer in mind, an opportunity they're thinking about. We consider those warm leads, and I provide that at the end of the week in our weekly leads listing, which I will explain here in a few minutes. And then again, there's the ISV portal, there's special call to action, and I send a summary email. So right after that call, they also get everybody I talked about, their logo with your contact information, a little blurb about your company and the offer. So that email goes out to everyone that I met with. And sometimes on that call, I might actually have a few minutes at the end to talk about community news, so upcoming events, user group meetings, any announcements that I've heard. Recently, I've just been really, really busy in that presentation, so I've spent a lot of time on community news. But we do talk about Summit. We do talk about, upcoming user group meetings and events, so that's good. And if they don't attend that meeting, again, like I said, I have that monthly webinar. So I go out and I invite everybody that missed the meeting to my monthly makeup webinar. So this was our clients that we're currently working with this fall. There's quite a few here. We've got, you can see here, the topics don't overlap. We try to have non-competing ISVs. And I balance how many are Business Central versus GP. So we do have both, some that cover both, some that are Business Central only, and some that are GP only. And, some partners do both, so that works well, but there is going to be a group that's GP only and a group that does NAV or Business Central only. So this gives you kind of an idea. You can see some names here that are well known and maybe a few that you aren't familiar with. Yep, so kind of highlights the middle there. For our upcoming spring ISV clients that we have already signed up, we have 5 that have already signed an agreement, so we still have 5 more spots. But again, you can see here the topics, some pretty well-known brands and some space like Dynamics GP, and also we have maybe even a new one there that is brand new that I found. So I'm always excited when I can introduce a new ISV to partners. So that's always fun because a lot of times they think they know all the ISVs. In fact, even if they know the ISVs, they don't always know the changes and the updates, right? So, all right. So again, we don't overlap the topics, non-competing ISVs, and then balance of Dynamics GP versus Business Central. And again, I'm recruiting right now to fill those 5 spots. So we'll start February 1st with the presentations, but actually we start a little bit earlier in November. So why am I sitting here in September talking about February? Well, we need to start early because there's a lot of work to get ready, get the ISV library set up, get the presentations put together. And so I'd like to spread it out so it's not a mad dash at the last minute. And this is a compatibility chart of the fall clients that I'm working with right now. It's a list of all the ISVs, whether they're listed in AppSource and what they're compatible with. And if it has a blue box, that just means they are planning to have a compatible version for that particular ERP. But you can see I go beyond and show them also if there's compatibility with other ERPs like Acumatica, Intech, NetSuite. Those are kind of the 3 bigger ones that I hear from partners in the SMB space. But it is good. They like to know when something is compatible with other platforms that they work with. I also use this as kind of my agenda. So at the beginning of our call, I use this to kind of go through and say, these are the topics today. I also send this chart out with my summer email. A lot of people really like it. They call it the heat map, the compatibility chart. So they really enjoy having this chart. So I always send it out. Everybody gets this as well. This is our past and current ISVs we've worked with. I know it's getting to be an eye chart now. It gets pretty crowded every time I add a new group. So we're, getting a lot more crowded here. And kind of to the top, you can see some of the ISV partners I work with right now. Hello, this is Carol Livingston from Dynamics Connections. And we have worked with nearly 100 ISVs over the past 4.5 years. And I've asked several of the clients to share their experiences of working with Dynamics Connections. So in their own words, they share the value that they received in working with Dynamics Connections and my services. Thank you for listening.
My name is Troy Grable from Cavallo, and we have had the pleasure of working with Dynamics Connections now for a handful of years. Dynamics Connections provides us is a conduit to new value-added resellers that we don't have relationships with, and also a conduit to giving our message to these resellers in a way that they don't feel like they're being sold by us, the ISV. And so Carol and the Dynamics Connections team really helped smooth that relationship and that first introduction out. And it's been a tremendous, tremendous experience. And the investment in which we have made with Dynamics Connections has paid off tenfold for us.
Hi, my name is Jeff Bonebright. I'm the VP of Channels and Alliances at Without Wire. The journey has been a fantastic one. Carol's a great communicator, sets up great meetings, and really understands our products and is able to communicate that to the Microsoft network. I would recommend Carol and her services to anyone.
Hi, I'm John Clare, Executive Vice President of FastCorp. For anybody looking for a partner to help you maximize your channel presence, create visibility and opportunities, I would highly recommend Dynamics Connections. They've been great to work with, helped us identify a lot of good opportunities, a lot of good contacts. And for us to be able to work with Dynamics Connections and kind of isolate that piece to their expertise has really been a plus for us, one that I think gives us a lot of return on our investment. If you're looking to grow your business within the channel, create new opportunities, new relationships and partnerships, I think Dynamics Connections is something you should seriously look at. I know we'll be working with them going forward in the future as well.
Hi, this is Mike Leahy with Leahy Consulting. Dynamics Connections is providing a very valuable service to us to introduce us to key VARs who can present our product to their customers. So we see the value that they're providing us as being extremely beneficial.
Hey, my name is Mary Miller. I'm the Director of Marketing and Channel at QuickTag by InChoice. We're the software group in the company. And we've been working with Dynamics Connections for several years now. Working with Dynamics Connections really opened a lot of the partner relationships that we've experienced over the years, grown over the years, maybe reintroduced ourselves to. Dynamics Connections has been a great part of that. Carol does a great job of managing the relationships and bringing people to the table, especially when partners who, maybe haven't heard of us for a while, or they kind of, change directions in their business. In today's world of everything's on demand, a lot of business relationships are very transactional in nature, and the partner community is different. We know that the relationships and the trust that's built with our partners is really what, in some cases, makes or breaks a deal, not only with a customer, but with a market or a segment of the market that we work with. So we really attribute a lot of our, getting the word out and helping to share our story to Carol and the team at Dynamics Connections.
This is Rod Burgle, CEO of Arbor Spectrum. We found that Dynamics Connection impacts both on our sales and our organization has been significant at several levels. Firstly, they are highly organized and their approach is both practical and effective. Secondly, their advice has inspired us to take a fresh look at our product line and tighten our messaging. And in addition to that, Dynamics Connections has been able to present several of our products as industry leaders. The result has been that since then, inquiries and sales have significantly increased and continue to do so. So our conclusion is that Dynamics Connections is an excellent organization to work with, and not least that this has been by far and above the best investment in marketing that we have ever made.
We have a lot of written endorsements as well. So I will send you this presentation after our meeting today, but you can take a look at those quotes from several of those ISVs that we've worked with. Another thing that we just did is we've asked for responses from our ISVs that we work with. So I did a survey asking, a couple of questions. How did we help you and what value did we bring with our services? So you can see here some of the top reasons on kind of that first column there. I know it's kind of an eye chart, but kind of the top reasons that were there, the top 4 was we helped partners get engaged with partners. They got introductions with partners that they would not have otherwise had. And they were able to schedule appointments to do a brief introduction. So that's always challenging, right? Getting the appointment, getting a call back, and getting an appointment. And then we also had several of them that said they signed new partner agreements. So as a result of the introductions, kind of further down, we had partners that had an opportunity at the end of the semester. So they gained some actual customer opportunities. They got internal demos with partners and their team. And the other reasons were, it was a reminder to partners that they worked with in the past. Maybe they haven't recently worked with that ISV, but got reminders. The ISVs got new contacts. Like I said, people are shuffling all the time. So I tend to find people that you haven't met, even though maybe it's a partner you've worked with, and got a customer demo as well as collaborating on marketing. And then on the other side, you can see the other question I asked was during the semester, rank what well to find those leads. Well, that hot lead, the email I send off right away, that's probably the best, right? Because they're more sales ready. The partners, saying, I want to learn more. I've got an opportunity in mind. I want to learn more about it because that comes up often. So that hot lead is immediate. And then that usually turns into an appointment, right? For the ISV. Weekly lead sheet, which is our contacts of everybody we met during the week. And some leads have come from that as well. And then we also do some video content, ISV Talks video. So some partners felt that was a good exposure for them, as well as our ISV library and just my referrals that I provide. So track record. So if we talk about metrics, so we've represented over 100 ISVs in our program over the past 5 years with, and I'm really proud to say more than 25%, or up to 27% now, almost to 30, have come back and used our services more than twice. Actually, we have a contact list now of over 1,900 professionals. So as I meet new contacts and as people leave, and I'm updating that mailing list all the time. We do have a pre-arranged quarterly meetings with at least 180 partners in the entire semester. And I get to hear your message twice. Remember, there's quarter 1 and quarter 2 during that semester. And then most ISVs see an average of 80 leads. So again, that's the warm lead, like it may be an introduction, they never heard of you, plus the hot leads, right? They ask for information right away. So generating 80 leads with an average of 30% are those hot leads, right? The ones that said, hey, I want more information, send me your contact information. In the last 5 years, we've generated over 7,500 leads with our ISV clients. And again, with that average of over 80 leads per ISV during that 6-month presentation. The little bubbles over here, there were our spring semester that just ended in July. 35% of our leads were actually hot leads during the spring session, which was amazing. We had over 680 leads total for the entire group. And we had 38 partner meetings per month. So, with that, there's a little more detailed breakdown here, but kind of what my take on kind of what happened in the spring was that we had a lot of contacts and a lot of meetings. Actually, our attendance went up. A lot more people attending the large group meetings, the webinars, the large groups. Like I have some teams that are pretty big, so it's more like a webinar that I meet with. And we had over 445 professionals that heard the message. We have an average of 1 to 3 people attending each meeting. So that kind of averages out to about 74, 75 people a month I'm talking to at least. And we had 229 companies that we met with. So one thing that you'll see is we give a lot of information. There's a weekly leads sheet that has all the contact information, a brief description of their comments, feedback. It has their industries they're in, how many clients they have by product, their titles, their contact information. So that's really great because you can take that information from the weekly lead sheet, add it to your CRM system and do, your follow-up, your nurturing campaigns. We also do a weekly report card, which is kind of a cumulative metrics and totals of all of the leads that we had, attendance, number of companies we met with. And you notice on the lead sheet, I should have mentioned this, the color coding there, the green versus the blue highlighted, those comments are leads, what I consider leads. So the blue were the hot leads. Those were the comments that hey, I want to know more right away. So I send off that separate email with my contact from the ISV right away. The green leads are more of, hey, I've never heard of them. I never met them before. So to me, that's a lead, right? They've been introduced to you. So now that's a new lead for you. Sometimes they have more than that. Maybe they have some interest, but they're not ready to engage yet. So whatever information I can gather, I provide that. So, and then kind of at the end of the 6 months, we do a full debrief. So we take a look at all our metrics for the entire group for the 6 months. And then I do an individual meeting with each ISV to kind of go over your specific metrics. And so we have a way to kind of document, how that semester went, any observations, and that way you have a way to kind of look at the ROI for the service. And again, we've been doing this for 5 years, so there's a lot of historical stats here from each of the semesters. So when I kind of look down through each semester, you can see at the bottom kind of our totals and averages, right? So again, we have over 180 companies that we meet with. Typically it's 350 to now it's been more closer to over 400 people that we've met with during that semester. The number of leads that we generate in the 6 month period for all of the 10, right, is about 800. And that averages to about 14 leads per ISV per month. So this is kind of an eye chart as well, but this is including our spring leads. We had quite a few that were the top 3. We had High Radius that had 127. We have Leahy Consulting, which has full dashboards. They're actually space. They have a lot of leads because they were brand new to everyone and without wire. So you can kind of see those. And you can also see other ISVs that we've worked with. If it says 1, 2, and 3, that means that they came back multiple times. So we've represented them more than once. So again, I'm proud to say a lot of our ISVs are so pleased they come back in a future session. This is just kind of giving you an idea of the average leads per month, and over 7,500 leads were generated over the last 5 years. Average leads per week, again, I think kind of ends up being about 80 leads in the 6 month period. And this is just looking at total leads from, kind of the early days all the way through the most current there at the top. One thing I noticed is that spring was a little bit lower in terms of leads. If you look at the list of people that I had in that group, we actually had a lot of really well-known ISVs. So they had been, familiar with them, and then it's not really a lead because they've already met them, right? So that ended up being a little bit lower there. And then the spring 2021, we have 11 ISVs. So we actually had 1 extra ISV, so that kind of bumped it up. So anyway, overall, kind of if you look at the average, we have about 800 leads per semester. Attendance is another metric. We track our attendance, and you can see that trend line has definitely gone up over time and how many companies we met with. Again, overall, our average is 38 meetings per month. And response type. So we go back through and we look at all the responses from everyone and find out kind of, put them in categories, I guess, so we can kind of compare and contrast. Are they active with that ISV? Are they familiar with them? Were they new to them? They never met them. They were brand new to them. Maybe they were interested and wanted some follow-up. Maybe they had a prospect in mind. And then also how many just attended our large group. So again, that monthly meeting, you know, I have as a webinar, you know, I do get a lot of attendees on that. So I send out a survey and ask them to let me know if they want information, but a lot of times they're there just to learn, and maybe they're multitasking. So I don't necessarily get great feedback on those meetings. So we had a lot of them in the spring semester. So these are looking at our spring responses. But over 63% of the responses said that the ISVs were new to them, and 37% wanted follow-up or had a prospect in mind. So that's pretty good metrics there. And kind of looking at, and again, in our final debrief at the end of the semester, you get a lot of this information, but just kind of comparing who I had in the spring semester and who had kind of high response categories. You can see here the ones that are highlighted. And then we also started something new. In September last year, we launched our ISV Talks, which is a video interview with the ISVs, and that has really gone well. It's really grown. I got a lot of people telling me they've seen my videos. So I'm always surprised. But anyway, we seem to have good reach with that. So it's nice because it gives you a different way to interact with the Dynamics community and talk about your products. We don't do a demo in that. It's a product overview, but not a demo. It's more of discussing kind of the issues that you solved, cases that you've worked with, or customer examples. And also I ask a lot of questions too about trends that the ISVs have seen, because obviously they're talking to partners and customers, right? So I'm curious what their thoughts are and what market trends. You can see the ISV Talks videos are both individuals as well as panels. So we kind of decide, that's part of my services, is deciding during that 6-month period when we want to record it, who's going to be involved, developing a list of questions, and then recording it, editing it, and then publishing it. So it gets published on my website, it gets published on 2 YouTube channels, and it also, I post about it on my LinkedIn, but I hope my ISV clients will also post it on their LinkedIn or share on the posts that I do as well. And we have the ISV library. Like I said, that's a perpetual listing of ISVs, and there's probably about 100 ISVs listed in there now. So it's kind of partner only information that they would not be able to get outside of the portals. And it definitely has kind of a platform to grow that information. It's a little different than looking at, say, a ISV directory out there where you go and search and you kind of pick predetermined filters. On this, you can actually go in and take a look at a search listing, which is a big old Excel sheet in the library. I find people find that very valuable because it has a brief description and contact information. And because it's an Excel, they can actually just do an Excel search. Like if they're looking for a particular word, like, you know, shipping software or payroll, they can just do a search on that or use the filters in Excel. But once they determine, hey, you know, they want to look into something a little bit deeper, they can go to that section of that ISV and, you know, review fact sheets, case studies, brochures, partner only information. And also we have a couple templates that they also provide, like an ISV profile and a customer email template. So a lot of great information, videos, documents, whatever the ISV would like, provide to those partners. And I do update those periodically. A lot of times I'll get a past client that will say, hey, could you add this new video or content? So I'm happy to do that. And again, we have that search listing, which is really popular. Well, I do have reports where I can track where people go when they go into the ISV library. So that is probably the most popular spot, is to open that search listing in Excel. So just another screenshot here. I did add to my website a tab for ISV library. I found a lot of people were going to my website, dynamicsconnections.com, and we're looking for the portal. It's not there. It's a separate, you know, website and a separate portal. So I just added a tab where people can request access. So that's actually really been interesting. I get a lot of activity on that. So it sends me an email and then I send a specific link inviting them to have access. And there's no credentials or anything. It's just a link. But I do have to send it from the portal to give them access. One thing too is that when we set up the ISV library, you can set up subsections. So you can see here, like all the spectrum, they have 4 different products. that we created. So when you click on it, it actually expands to show other additional areas. So that a lot of ISVs that have multiple products or multiple areas that they want to kind of highlight, we break it up into sections like that. So just to kind of conclude, so what do you get? What's the investments? Right now, our rate, we have not raised it. I think it's been almost 3 years. It's still $1,500 a month for 6 months. So that's a $9,000 investment for that 6-month period. You don't start paying that until we start presenting in. So for the spring semester, it'll start February 1st. That first payment will be due. There is now also a new additional fee I've added because I spend a couple months working with my ISVs, getting them ready, and I don't get paid until it gets started. So I was like, I need to cover that cost somehow. And we added the ISV talk. So we added a setup fee that's due upon signing of the agreement. So if you sign the agreement in 2022, that'll be due right after you sign. Otherwise, everything else will be due the year of the service during that 6-month period. All right, so what do you get? So you get exposure to more than 180 VARs in the Microsoft channel. So again, we have over 1,900 professionals now on our mailing list. We have monthly status calls that I host with our ISV. So we go over, and that status call is really important to me. So we spend a half hour kind of going through the leads that I sent over. We talk about how the presentations are going. Sometimes that's a good time to kind of say, hey, we're not getting enough leads. Let's change it up. What's working for other ISVs in this session? So the beauty about what I do on those presentations is that I can change it right away. So we can add a new offer. We can add more details. Sometimes we add more customer stories. So during that status call, it's really important. We kind of gauge how things are going from your side and from our side. Are we meeting our goals that we set out at the beginning of the semester? And we review the leads and make sure that, there's, good communication there. We also do the ISV Talks video, right? So that published on YouTube and my website. But that does take some planning. So we don't start that until after the 6-month session starts. So for February 1st, we would probably wait until March because I usually need a little bit of time to kind of get started with the new group and get my presentation and all of that down. But then we start recording those videos and publishing them. And I try to have like one every other week. So they're kind of spread out. So we'll kind of schedule that after we get started. Get the interview questions and decide who's going to be in the interview. I do have a video release form that I get signed also for using that content on my website. And then, of course, you get the weekly lead sheet with contacts information. That's usually a really valuable sheet. I find that the ISVs that I work with I find that helpful. It has the title of the person I met with. It has additional information, like if they're the lead person that I work with that knows the ISVs and kind of is the go-to person for their organization on ISVs. So I note those things, how many clients they have by product, what industries they're in, their location, their website. So a lot of information, their contact information, like their phone numbers. So I tend to find that is really valuable to everyone because you can then add those contacts to your CRM or customer management system and follow up with them. We have the perpetual ISV library, which we just discussed a few minutes ago. We have website exposure. So I have a section for clients on my website that I turn over at the beginning of a semester and put a logo for each of the clients that I'm working with, a brief description and a link to your website. So that's on my website as well. And I also announce that. I send out a LinkedIn post about it. Sometimes I do it in my newsletter email that I do. We work on, everything is based on the goals that you're trying to achieve. So at the beginning of our process, one of the things we discuss is, well, what are your goals for this session? Sometimes people will tell me, oh, I want to get 5 partners signed up. I want to get this new product launch that we have. I want to get that in front of partners and that message to them. So we kind of decide sort of what are we trying to accomplish here, right? So we can kind of know, I know how I'm being measured and you know kind of what goal we're trying to accomplish. Of course, we have social media exposure through our LinkedIn for the posts that I do. And then I also try to support you if you're also doing some social media. The UG collaboration, we do work with the UGs and I speak as well as I try to coordinate sponsorships if people are interested in sponsorships at those events. And the ISV advisory services, I think I talked about as well. And then one unique thing is we offer 3 months free listing on the Partner Index. They are a ISV directory that just launched a year ago. We do offer that 3 months listing for free. So kind of in summary, again, we offer kind of basically those marketing services, kind of a unique program where we have those appointments and education we provide to partners. We have a proven track record of 5 years. And definitely the results is we connect people. So our schedule for the spring 2023 semester begins February 1st through July 31st. So here's kind of the schedule leading up to February 1st. The agreements for the spring semester, we'll try to get those wrapped up here in September and October. Then November, we'll actually have our kickoff meeting. We'll get the team together and start planning and gathering materials for the ISV library and the VAR slides that need to be prepared. And I do ask for those slides to be delivered to me, kind of the mid-January timeframe. So I have enough time to create the master slide deck, and then we go live with presentations. So once we get that signed agreement, then we'll start scheduling these meetings and status calls to get ready. And so the next steps would be, let me know if you're interested. I will send you a memo of understanding that acts as our agreement during that semester. And once that category topic has been reserved, then that's your topic. So I don't have overlapping topics, like I said earlier. So that's a first come, first serve. So please let me know if you're interested, and let's get that spot saved for you. And you can reach me at carol@dynamicsconnections.com. And thank you for joining our ISV webinar for the spring 2023 semester. And I look forward to hearing from you soon. Thank you so much.